Philadelphia, are you ready?
They said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Welcome, everybody, to Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast. And today we have a returning guest. I guess we haven't had on a long time. The last time we had this man on, it was after a devastating 450 off the top rope onto the floor. So it's good to finally see him and have him back on. Shawn Phoenix joins us. Shawn, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, guys.
I think that was a good preface to the first question. How did recouping go? And minus, I guess, this pandemic era right now. Getting back, because I remember your first appearance back wasn't a match, right? It was
Correct.
You did a run in Pittsburgh at your home,
Correct.
and then that set up an angle. Like how was it getting back after your injury? Like, were you really hesitant?
So okay, I was actually cleared to wrestle in January of 2000. What would that have been? 19? Yeah. So I got hurt in October of 2018, and I was cleared in January 2019, which is unbelievable. Because not many people know. When I got hurt, I suffered a broken skull. I suffered a brain bleed, a seizure, everything like that, and I don't like putting myself over, but I'm super proud of how well I did, because when I was originally in the hospital, they said I'm probably never going to wrestle again. Another doctor would come in and say, okay, well, you're going to be in the hospital for at least a month, and then you're going to transfer to another hospital to learn how to walk again. And then throughout the week, oh, maybe you will wrestle again. You're doing really good. You don't have any sign of a concussion. Oh, well, maybe you'll only be in the hospital for 3 weeks. And then as I was there, it got shorter and shorter, and basically I was in the hospital for only 6 days, and I didn't even need to transfer to another hospital. The main thing that was keeping me in the hospital was I was leaking spinal fluid from my ear. So once they identified that I was leaking spinal fluid, which, side note, liquid is coming from my ear, what the hell other liquid could it have been other than spinal fluid? It's not like I'm crying from my ear, but I don't know, they needed to
brain
verify.
juice. Oh.
Yeah, well, essentially that's what it is, right? Spinal fluid. It's
they should have said that. You got brain juice coming from your head.
Yeah, right. So they had to put a catheter in my spine, which was the worst pain ever. They gave me 8 epidurals to not feel it, or whatever the term is. And I felt every inch. It had to go into the spinal column, in between the bones. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Oh,
and
ow.
Yeah, it felt like they were putting a tank in, a whole Panzer tank in my spine. And they needed, at that point, I also needed to sleep at a 45-degree angle, because basically the angle I'm sitting at right now.
Upside down though?
Yeah, that would be sick. No, because the spinal fluid obviously runs up and down the spinal column into the brain, so they needed gravity to kind of pull it down and take the excess until the injury could heal up. And then once they were confident that it had stopped leaking for long enough to heal, then we took the catheter out, and then that was a waiting period to see if that was is it going to start leaking again? And then when they pulled it out, it was just this little itty bitty, almost looked like a fuse on I don't know, a Christmas light, a little thing. I was that's what hurts so bad. But yeah, so once that stopped 100% on its own after the catheter, then I could learn how to walk again. And once they were confident in me walking on my own and not being a liability, or a risk rather, in my own home, then I could go home. So I did the test. I went up and down the stairs, and it was great. It took a little bit to get the hang of it, but then once I was going, I was good. So yeah, I was only in the hospital for 6 days. And then the process was, okay, I know I have a concussion. It's not a major one, but I do. So I went to physical therapy. I would do that 3 times a week plus daily exercises for the concussion. And then like doing impact tests and stuff like that. And then come January, like I was cleared. He was like, you're fine. Like, cause I had gotten a concussion, 2000, I want to say late 2016, maybe summer 2016, but it wasn't bad. So like, they were like, oh, you are better than we released you back then. Like I just did so well. But the main thing was like, I was like, cool, hell yeah, I'm back. This is great. I still felt like, not dizziness, but the balance was really wonky.
That
So
vertigo.
that, not even necessarily vertigo, but like walking on a ship.
So you get sea legs all the time.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like when I was in the hospital, I couldn't even sit up without the whole room spinning. But like that had gone away. It was just basically I felt like I was. Whoa. So then it was the process of finding out where do I go to get that fixed, because I was under the impression that I was experiencing that because of the concussion. But, I went to my ear doctor. They were like, yeah, okay, you're deaf in one ear. I'm like, yeah, doc, I know. That's not why I'm here.
I can't hear you. Speak up.
Right. He's like, well, you got to go to this doctor. So I went to that doctor, and they were like, okay, go to this doctor. So finally come July, like, okay, so let me backtrack. I could wrestle in January. Medically, I could. But that would have just been punching, kicking type thing. Like I definitely couldn't have been doing Hurricane Rana's, head scissors, stuff like that, the stuff that I like to do. So I didn't want to come back at less than 100% until I could figure out what was going on. That being said, if a doctor would have said, this is as good as it's going to get, you will never do that again, obviously I will adapt. But I didn't need to. So I got this crazy, like, process of like getting testing and stuff like that. I had to wake up at like 6 a.m, and I had to go into like this one dark room that had an uneven floor. It was legitimately lasted from like 7 a.m. until noon. Then I had a break, and then the doctor could evaluate me legitimately that day. So I was in that process for nearly all day. But they determined that my balance was really bad on uneven surfaces and in a dark environment, and especially bad when the both are together. So I'm like, okay, well, that's not too bad, because how often are you on uneven surfaces in your life in the dark? And little did I know, literally like 3 days later, I'd be walking down a hill at nighttime, and I'm like, whoa. But I was like, oh.
When will I ever need this? I'm never going to be in the dark uneven.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But like, I was like, okay, well, that's good, because the wrestling ring, for the most part, is flat and there's lights, so that's good. And then this woman kind of like, yeah, so this woman, who I guess was like discharging me, she was like, okay, well, all right, you're all set. And I was like, wait, what do I do? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, he just said this was that. How do I fix that? She's like, oh, I guess you can go here. Like, I don't know what happened. I guess the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. So I enrolled myself in another physical therapy for balance, because it turns out that I broke my my labyrinth, I think it's what it's called, and they explained it.
David Bowie movie.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah, I know, right? They explained it. A balance is made up of 3 things: a sturdy structure, your inner ear, and your eyes. So whenever you take the sturdy structure away, being an uneven surface, and my eyes away, being the dark, I'm just relying on my inner ear, and that one is damaged. So that's what the issue is. Now, what they said was normally the brain kind of kicks it into overdrive and realizes, hey, this left inner ear is broken. Instead of splitting it 50-50, it's just do 100% on the good one. But my brain wasn't doing that. They're not sure why. They said it could be because of like medication could cause it, old age could cause it. But like the medications I take for ADD wouldn't cause it. And I'm definitely not 90 years old. So they were like, this is kind of weird. So their theory was that because I had bounced back so quickly with everything else, being the concussion, with everything, that there's still a little bit of life left in that inner ear that my brain was focusing on, saying, no, we can still come back, rather than just saying, okay, this is dead, go to that one. So we had the option of getting an invasive surgery to like destroy my inner ear to kind of kickstart it. But I'm only at this point I was only 28 years old. Who knows what modern medicine is going to be like in 20 years? And there could be a cure for deafness, but if I destroy this inner ear, I'd be SOL. So I was like, well, no, I'll just do physical therapy and adapt. So I started physical therapy in I want to say it was late July, and it wasn't too hard. It wasn't long, and it mainly was like, I think I finished up in July, or no, I'm sorry, in August, like almost like a month, maybe early September. And then I realized, holy shit, like this is really happening. Like I'm really close to coming back. And I always wanted to come back at IWC, which was the company that I got hurt at. Because I felt like the fans, because I could have probably reached out to other companies that are bigger, bigger companies, so to speak. But these fans witnessed me almost die. So it meant more for it to come back in front of those fans because they knew the journey. And it's my home company, essentially. So I always wanted to come back at that company. That was always the goal. And then I realized, holy shit, like it's early September. It's almost a year. So I told, I contacted the owner and I was like, hey, I'm cleared. Like I'm good to go. But I feel like it would mean more to me personally if I came back a year plus a day, my first appearance. He was like, oh, do you want to do that? I'm like, hell yeah, let's do that. So that the moment you're speaking of, long story, I give long-winded answers. I don't know if you guys
It's way better than giving one-word answers. I'll tell you that
right.
We have no problem.
Good. Okay. So yeah, I that day was pretty stressful because like I keep everything super close to the chest, and I really like diverting people's expectations. So I posted on Facebook early October, like, hey guys, the 1 year anniversary of my accident's coming up. I thought I'd be back by now. This is really bumming me out. I'm gonna step away from this. I'm not gonna go hang out at shows. I'm gonna, kind of reflect. And I like deactivated my Facebook, and I didn't want anyone to talk to me. Little did they know. So that day I actually was attending one of my best friend's weddings that was like an hour away, that started the moment the show started. And I was like, holy shit. Like he even asked me if I wanted to be in the wedding. Like that's how close we were. We still are. And I said, Rev, his name's Ravina. I'm like, Rev, I would love to, but I'm coming back to wrestling that day and I have to get the hell out of there. And he's like, oh, well, go for it, man. So I zoomed to the wedding, watched them tie the knot, and then I didn't stay for the reception, and I zoomed to the venue. Then the road was closed, so I had to completely redirect. It was so
and
stressful.
The luck continues.
Dude, yeah, you weren't kidding. And I was definitely not driving the speed limit. I knew that the segment would be later in the show for that reason, for me being out of, not necessarily out of town, but out of the area. But I got there, everything, we did the sequence. It didn't really go the way that I wanted it to, because for so long I had envisioned how it would all play out, because that was the focus. It's if I can visualize this is going to happen. And it didn't really go the way that I wanted to, but I'm not upset about it. But yeah, it was legitimately, because we were also wondering, okay, do we do this as a surprise, or do we announce this to sell tickets? So I felt like this was the next, the way we can both, get what we want. I get the surprise aspect, and then they also get the fact of, selling tickets. So we did this thing, and I appeared in the ring with Atticus Cogar, who was the one that was laying on the table and took credit for nearly killing me. We promoted the next show November 2nd, and the rest is history.
Side note, Atticus kind of took off a little bit after that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And I will never say I'm taking credit for it, but I mean, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, he started to get some bookings after that, huh?
Yes, he did. Yeah,
it's with Ohio 44OH, right?
It's 440. I think it's the Cleveland area code. I didn't know that until recently, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty. On one hand, it's that's great because I want to see everyone succeed, but on the other, it's him of all people.
Yeah. But I mean, that gives you a starting point when you come back, and gives you and that's actually beneficial for you now, because
Right.
he's gotten some notoriety since you've been away, and now you come
Right.
back and you get back into the picture. And now you get the quote unquote rub or the notoriety as
Exactly.
well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that helps your bookings in the long run,
Yeah. True. Yeah. Very
especially if
true.
you show out.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you always have that story linked to you,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. You're the guy that broke his face.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that was one of the things too. We were wondering, like, do we run with this? And I was like, absolutely, we run with this, because like this is so crazy, and like I wanted to get the story out there to maybe save someone else's life, or like, but like it's kind of funny because with my name being Phoenix, the whole idea behind that is like to overcome tough times and fight back, and not necessarily maybe always win, but at least have the strength to fight back. And I want to kind of like use that to motivate people. So like it's kind of like, dude, like this is the definition of a phoenix. Like you are legitimately rising from this fractured skull and you're coming back. I don't know if I'm better, but because like I still got a little bit of issues. Like I haven't jumped off the top rope since my injury. But because like I definitely have to wrestle smarter now. I feel like there's eyes on me, and I've told a lot of people that I learned from my mistake, and I genuinely mean that. I'm learning to pick my moments. When's the right time to do certain things, and what have you. But
So less of a reckless abandon and more of a well thought out.
yeah, essentially, which sucks because like I've always been a risk taker. I've just growing up,
That's your
I've always,
backyarding in you.
yeah. Even before that, it was my inline skating. It was my skateboarding, BMX, motocross. It's I grew up with the Jackass generation. We had my friends. We made our own Jackass tapes that weren't as crazy as Jackass. We were kids, but like we would do stupid stuff, like not necessarily like shopping carts, but like
I was going to say the shopping cart's always the first thing that comes to mind, because we've all
right.
taken that shopping cart and gone down that big ass hill in the fucking oncoming traffic.
Right. We would do stupid stuff. Like we would find like a second story thing like at a mall and like jump into a bush, just eliminating the shopping cart. Like I've jumped off many roofs onto a trampoline, like stupid stuff like that. Like I've just always been that guy. So it really sucks to have to like second guess myself essentially, because like the one thing I don't want is I don't want a promoter to regret giving me a second chance.
Yeah.
And I don't want also to like genuinely not learn from my mistake and be like, oh geez, because lightning doesn't strike twice. I mean, it rarely strikes twice. But there is also that chance. Like I was kind of worried about coming back to pro wrestling because I'm deaf in one ear now. That's the biggest thing. And like, God forbid I get hit in my right ear, the one that's good, and I'm now deaf in my both ears. I don't have a backup parachute. But then I got thinking like, I don't know anybody that has had a freak accident where they've lost hearing in one ear and then lost hearing in the other ear. Like that's like I've never. I mean, it's not to say it doesn't happen, but like, what are the odds of that? So that kind of like
I don't know, man. You're toying with luck, and
I know.
you
Very
and
true.
luck
Knock
are
on
on the same page.
Knock on wood. But yeah, so like I came back November 2nd. I wanted to ease back into my bookings because before I got hurt, I was legitimately working, like twice every weekend. Like I feel like I was really coming into my own, not necessarily like being a name, not saying everyone knew who I was, but I was on the verge of that. I was catching a rhythm. I was finding what worked, and I was like really proud of the work that I was putting out. And then I got hurt, and then I realized, okay, I took a year off. I'm not going to be able to go at the pace that I was because I need to essentially even though I have some balance issues, like I'm not 100%. I'm like 98%. And, cardio wise, I'm not going to be what I was because, the more you wrestle, the better in ring shape you get. So I wanted to ease back into it. And, so like I would do like once a weekend, which isn't that bad, which is like more than a lot of people that I know. So I was getting into that aspect of it, and then the stupid pandemic happened, and it's like, are you kidding me? Back on the shelf again?
And then five months later, you'd find yourself and the rest of the world on the bench.
Yep. Which is weird because like I put out a teaser saying like, oh, like big update, I'm coming back spring of 2020, which I knew was a lie. but like, had that been accurate, I wouldn't have been able to come back because that's when the
No.
pandemic would have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would
But
have you would have picked your luck, the absolute worst time to come back to wrestling.
Yeah.
You'd be walking in the door and everyone else would be walking out.
Exactly. But I've been it was really weird because the pandemic shut down. Like, I take it very seriously. Like, I don't know where you guys stand, and I hope you guys take it seriously. I'm not afraid of the virus, like you hear people say. You know, like, oh, I'm not afraid of this virus. I got COVID-19 personally. It sucked. I have elderly parents. I have my dad is constantly in and out of the hospital with like issues with surgeries, and I honestly expect to lose him within the next 5 years just because he's not taking care of himself, which is really ironic because he was a former paramedic. But like, I have loved ones that are, you know, really, that could really be affected by this. So I am constantly on Reddit looking up Pittsburgh's, you know, how many new cases and stuff like that, just trying to be in the know. Also, my Clark Kent job, I work nearly downtown in a dirty environment. So like, I try to keep up with it all and like trying to keep everyone safe and doing my part to keep other people safe. So when the lockdown happened, like, it really like affected me in the sense of like, it really bummed me out more than the injury because like I suffer from depression. I'm medicated for it, and I was still medicated all throughout the lockdown and everything like that. But it really depressed me being during the lockdown. But like, I knew it was for a good cause in theory, you know, to keep everyone safe. But it hit me hard because I had just had wrestling taken away from me in 2018 and fought so hard to come back, and now it's gone again. And this time I didn't know how long it was going to be. Where when I was injured, it was entirely up to me. Wrestling still existed. It was up to me to catch up and work my ass off to get there. With the pandemic lockdown, there was nothing I could do.
Nothing
And
anybody
like,
can do.
I know, and like, that really affected me. I'm like, man, this really sucks. So I did possibly the worst thing. And I was like, well, I don't care, screw it. I'll probably never wrestle again. I'll just eat a bunch of ice cream type of thing, play video games, and like, I put on weight, which really sucks because I was just getting rid of the injury weight. Like, I was like, cool, I'm shedding the pounds that I put on, great. Now I put it back on. I'm like, ugh. But but yeah, like, so it really affected me. And then I ended up getting a booking in Maine, which was very, very influential because we did a benefit show to pay for my hearing aids. I have like hearing aids that aren't covered by insurance. It takes the sound from my deaf ear and plays it in my good ear. Like, it's really crazy. So we did a benefit show for that. Super thankful for everyone donating their time and, you know, everyone put together. It like, I can't watch the DVD because it makes me too emotional. The fact that people care that much. I still have it. It's still saran wrapped. Like, I can't do it. I have an autographed poster. It means the world to me. But I befriended somebody up in Maine, and the company Limitless Wrestling, the day of my benefit show, also had a show. Never met them, never wrestled for them. They found out about it and got all the names on the show. MJF was on the show. Anthony Green was on the show. Many other people, big names, to like autograph a poster, and then they auctioned it to their fans up there, and then gave me the money. I'm like,
How about that?
you guys did not need to do that. Holy shit! So I made them a promise. I was like, when I'm back, I will
Shit,
come.
that was probably MJF versus Anthony Green for the fucking title. That was probably
probably.
That was probably a big event or a bigger venue
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. So I told Mr. Carver, I said, sir, like, thank you so much. You didn't need to do that. When I'm back, I will. You tell me when I'm there. You don't even need to pay me. I will repay you for what you did to me. It means the world to me. So we were in talks to like make it work from the time that I came back to the pandemic, and it just never worked out. But then they started taping this series called The Road, which was, you know, like a volunteer. If you guys want to wrestle, you can. There's not going to be fans. It's, you know, purely volunteer. Come up here, and then you put on YouTube or whatever. And I got the information sent my way, and I'm like, absolutely yes, I'm there. So that was actually the first show that I did, because I even had like another booking before that, and like my anxiety got the best of me, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I haven't been in the ring, I haven't practiced, I don't know. And like the promoter was totally cool with it, but this time I was like, I need, like, it was like a kicking myself in the ass. I was like, no more excuses. You owe this company for what they did for you. And so it was 189 days off from the pandemic to this point, and I was like really doubting myself. I was like, man, like we spoke about this, right? You guys
This
talked
is
about the
the
limit.
fatal four-way that you were in for
So
limited, right?
that was the day 2 one. The day
Okay.
the first one was a tag match, and like I was really in my own head. I teamed with Andrew Palace, and he's like one of my best friends, and I was like, dude, like I don't know, like, because he's been like working other companies that were doing similar things and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't, like, I know what to do, but I don't know if it's going to be good. You know, like anybody can essentially make a cake, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a delicious cake. And that was my thing. Like I'm like, this company means so much to me, and I'm going to shit the bed. So like I was really in my own head. And then like I got the first one out of the way, and I was like, cool. Okay, that feels good. I got the first one done. Let's do the second, the day 2. And that was the fatal 4-way. And I was like, I felt really good about that one. Still, you know, like I still see that I was rusty, but yeah, so yeah, 189 days again on the shelf. So hopefully.
Well, that's the other thing with you contracting COVID and going through everything you went through, and even like you said with your anxiety and all. What is your stance on these companies? Obviously, they have to make money. The wrestlers, if that's all you do, that's how you have to make money. What do you think of like the outdoor venues that a lot of smaller companies are starting to do? You're seeing a lot more companies get up and running. What's your opinion on that?
It's a double-edged sword, because like today Pittsburgh is at a record of 500 plus cases. And you guys are in Philly. It's like the state of PA, the government has kind of like abandoned us, you know, where like other states are locking down. But I don't know. It's just so like there's no right answer. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you say do this, this side's going to get mad. If you don't do this, that side's going to get mad. You know, it's just like I do not envy the decision makers in politics. That's why I'm not in politics. IWC did a lot of outdoor shows. I worked one of them. I liked them a lot. I thought they were great. The social distancing seatings, like they did it at an actual like little league, not a little league, like a minor league baseball field, which I guess is like the indie wrestling version of baseball, and has great stadium. I don't know how baseball works.
I mean, that's not a
you're
bad
not
example.
Yeah, you're not
Okay,
wrong.
okay.
Basically,
Because when I played baseball, I was on the minors, and we definitely did not have a stadium like this. Like it was a great stadium, and like the fans were all in there and like spread out, and I was like, this is cool. So I'm totally cool with that. I see other companies that like gather outside, but like they're not spacing out the crowd, which kind of defeats the point to me.
I mean,
that being
I
said,
think any show in Florida, I pretty much throw out the window.
It's insane. It's insane. So like I'm totally cool with that. And then like IWC actually returned to a building, and the social distancing was great. Like I think there were like 2 chairs per like section. So like if you plus 1 came, you 2 were sitting together, and that's it. And then like 6 feet to the next section, 6 feet to the next one. And even the locker room, like we had to like stay to ourselves. I'm like, that's great. Now it's up to the companies if they want to run during this. I have another home company that doesn't feel comfortable running. That's totally fine. I feel like as far as my like I'm a team player. If the company I work for says, "Hey, we're going to do this. These are the guidelines." It's within my best interest to keep myself safe within those guidelines. So for example, in my entrance, I don't go around high-fiving fans. I don't know if other people do. I now wrestle in a mask. Like I got a mask made to wrestle in. It's like a COVID mask, goes over the nose and the mouth. Because I was watching The Watchmen, and the TV show is really good. And the one superhero sister, yeah, dude, it's amazing.
I think that might be my next binge.
It's so good. I'm not even a big Watchmen fan. My tag partner is, but I'm a big 9 Inch Nails fan, and they did the soundtrack. So I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So like the one superhero, Sister Knight, she has a mask that kind of goes underneath her eyes, and I rewatched it during the pandemic, and like I'm so used to seeing masks now that like my first thought was like, duh, pandemic, but obviously that's not why she was wearing a mask. And it dawned
she
on
really
me,
predicted the future on this one.
right, it dawned on me that like you can make a mask badass by embracing it. So I was like, cool, I'm getting a mask made. I'm wrestling in a mask now, because I didn't want the fans to feel, not that anyone should feel weird for wearing a mask, because we all are, but like, I don't know, I wanted to kind of like encapture the situation, because I like to change my look a lot based on eras. Like I like looking at The Undertaker, and like, oh cool, Ministry of Darkness era, or American Badass. You know what era that is. And for example, when I got hurt, I grew a long injury beard. And the longer my beard was, the longer it was before I was back in the ring. So like I figure the mask, that's the COVID era. Like I don't know what the next era will be. But like I will be able to look at this picture 20 years from now and go, oh yeah, that's during the pandemic. Like I can't believe
2020, that fucking time period.
Right, yeah, I can't believe how long that lasted. Or maybe like, oh wow, I was really one of the first people to wear masks and embrace it. Now everyone does it, like
Yeah.
I don't know. But like I also selfishly wanted to be like, oh my god, Shawn Phoenix wears a mask when he wrestles. You can wear one when you go to Giants, You guys have Giants out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was relevant.
Okay, good. That's what I was going for.
Yeah, you're good.
But I also wanted to wear it in my Clark Kent job, because we have to wear masks now. And like with my hearing aids, with my glasses, and like wearing the whatever masks they're called that go around the ears is just too much. So I was like, oh cool, I can just tie it around the back and just wear it and like have a really sick mask. So
Well, I think, and that's the other thing is watching, like, especially promotions like GCW, they seem to be getting a good hold on the way to do it. And every event that I've seen them do, it really is well situated, really well done. And even Matt Tremont's promotion, H2O out here, they're another one who have been doing it. And Matt Tremont's been running shows, and he's been doing the same thing. So I think like it has been evolving. It has been forcing companies to evolve and kind of get business running again, but still doing it safely.
I like that it gives the fans a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Either A, you feel comfortable enough to go, or B, you don't feel comfortable enough to go. As long as that company is within the guidelines and keeping everyone safe, it's up to you. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to, is how are you handling the situation? And I feel all the companies I wrestle for, I feel super comfortable with, because like I'm restricting myself. Like I said, I don't high five fans. And it also really sucks because I'm a hugger, and like I haven't seen people like, oh, what's up? And it's like, oh, like it really sucks. But like that's the rules that I have with myself to keep my family safe, So I like that it gives people the option to do it. And like, who knows what's gonna happen next month? If IWC were to message me and say, hey, would you like to do like a warehouse taping that, not no pay, but like, you get to wrestle. I told myself I'd be a lot smarter after the accident, with financial reasons. Like, I can't believe you broke your skull for this much money. But I now realize how much it affects my mental health without wrestling. Like the fact that I was so depressed, like, and I even told
that was
her
your escape.
Exactly, 100%, because I'm straight edge. I don't drink, smoke, or do drugs. I don't have another hobby really, other than spending way too much money on CDs. Which that was another thing whenever the pandemic happened. CDs, records, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, really? You're still buying CDs?
I'm a collector, yeah.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, so during the pandemic, that was my like dopamine release. It's like I'd buy stuff from Discogs, like, oh cool, this like English only release, like cool, here it is. Like that's exciting. I listened to it and I put it in my collection, like cool. Boom, it's in the collection now.
I can't front on you. I mean, I bought probably 15 wrestling shirts during the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, like it's just like that was. I mean, I've always collected them, but like I didn't have anything else to do, and I'd be up at like 3 a.m. and
And your brain goes like, oh, what's the most obscure thing I can get?
Right. And then like because of Discogs, the app, it's like a cataloging site. Like you can like make a want list and like a have list. So like you can like find like say like U2, and like you can like look at all of their releases, and then like you can look at the different versions of that one. And I like buying CDs and records for the artwork. I feel like anyone can download a song, anyone can stream a song, but I like holding the artwork and looking at the linear notes and stuff like that. And if there's a difference in a version between a CD or an album, like I need them. Like I don't know why. If this one's white and this one's black, I need them both. It's not healthy.
What's your favorite CD that you've purchased?
That's a tough one. I don't know. Like there's like a couple like nostalgia. Like, okay, this is what started the collection. This is the first band I ever listened to. Like Linkin Park Hybrid Theory was like the first rock band CD I ever got as a kid. It's like there's that nostalgia. I have Alex Zane's EP from when he was doing his rap thing.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Available to buy? Wait, where is this?
It's I think like you can just message him directly, but like Alex Zane is like a brother to me. I don't know if you guys know that.
You told us before,
and we've seen posts. Especially when he just had his last match at GCW.
Right. Yeah, he's like a brother to me. He spent like holidays at my house. My mom wanted him to move in and stuff like that. So like he was a backyarder with me back in the day. Like I've known him since 2003, and he actually like stopped to focus on his on his rapping. And his first mixtape is it's called Sociopath, and it's like a concept album based on the Dexter TV show. It's really good. And then he's got his 88 Minutes EP. And then he started wrestling again under a mask and by the name Andros Fidel, because he wanted to separate the two. And then I don't know what happened, what he decided, like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to be me again. But like, yeah. So he kind of like stopped the rapping. The kid can't multitask.
Man, we had him on the show twice already, and this has never come up.
Well,
I don't think we're going to get that third try.
I don't think we are either.
Yes, like there's that one. And like, I was on vacation in Ocean City, Maryland, stopped in Allentown, PA, out near you guys, and he actually did a concert.
Where? On your way to Maryland?
It was from Ocean City, Maryland, and we stopped in Allentown, PA specifically to Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh's west.
Yeah. I know. I'm doing
You're going the opposite way of the camera.
Right. He actually did a concert in Allentown. It was at the Crocodile, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I played there, and it was like really cool to like leave vacation early to come see him. And then like I think he released his
Zane
CD
concert.
that day.
Wow,
dude, he was so good. Like I remember one of his songs, like he specifically like left the stage and was like rapping like in the crowd and like pacing back and forth. Like the energy was so sick. Until like the security guard yelled at him. He's like, "Come on, you can't get up." And he's like, "Oh, my bad." But it was like really unique. Like I've never seen a rapper, or I've seen rock bands do that, but like to have that energy and like the pacing, and I forget which song it was, but so yeah, like I like that one. And then there's like ones that are like released from Japan. There's different like I don't know. Now you guys got me on a tangent.
I asked the question hoping to get on a tangent, knowing who you are and how I knew where this was going. That's why I was asking.
I know that we discovered that Alex Zane was a rapper, which we've never
hold on,
really
I just found the wrong thing because I'm stupid. I'll go show you guys my collection real quick. Do that on the air, or do you want me to do that afterwards?
What are you doing?
I'll show you my collection.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, because it's downstairs.
Hey, this is for the people that enjoy our show. We are on the move. We do this for the.
I was laying in bed because I pulled my back, but I'm feeling much better now. So sorry for the background, by the way. Going into my office here. So I've got.
Jesus.
I don't know how well you can see.
Yeah, but that's just like any other collector. I mean,
yeah.
If you collect like comic books or stuff like that, or figures, yours actually take up less space.
Right, but like, see, like, and then like I individually like wrapped. I don't know if you can tell. Like they're all wrapped in cellophane.
CKY.
They're all,
yeah, that was CKY.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm actually. I'm actually buddies with the one guitar player from CKY.
That's like a
Matt
blast from
Heath.
the God. What year was that? That had to have been like 03?
Yeah. Matt,
CKY?
I never can pronounce his last name correctly. Matt Diaz, I think his last name is. He came in during 2005, an Answer Can't Be Found tour, and then has been back since. But like we befriended each other, and like it's so weird. My life is really weird.
He probably gets the independent wrestling scene now.
Oh, it's funny because like I was watching WrestleMania and I checked give me 1 second. I checked my Twitter and saw him live tweeting WrestleMania, and I was like, Matt, what the hell? When did you become a wrestling fan? He's like, I don't know, just kind of watching it. So like he's a wrestling fan now, and like he put me over to Paige's mom once. Like Paige's mom, who I know, she was like, who's your favorite wrestler? And he was like, Shawn Phoenix. He broke his skull and still came to a CKY show. He's the man. And I was like, Matt, what are you doing? Love that guy. So shout out to Matt. He has since left the band. He's doing his own thing. But yeah, super happy for him.
That's insane. It's insane where we started and where we are in this conversation.
Dude, this is how I am.
I think it's partially my fault too.
But yeah, so my dopamine escape is definitely wrestling.
There you go.
That's the answer.
We tied it all back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I appreciate it because I wouldn't have been able to tie that back in. I was so far gone.
I have ADD, so like this kind of happens.
I might have it too. Who knows? I probably do. Either that, or I just don't pay attention.
I could be both.
So, Shawn, coming up now, like you said, you were wrestling for Limitless, doing the road. Is that something you're still doing? Are you looking for more bookings?
Well, my next show is coming up this Saturday. Like excuse me, I just got the hiccups. It's kind of like once a week again, until it's not. People were like, oh, when's your next show? And I'm like, oh, this Saturday, unless the world changes. You know, that's the worst part, is that there's that uncertainty, but it's nice having this stability. Like, at least I know, like, okay, my next show is Saturday, because I knew what it was like to say, I haven't wrestled since 8 months, you know? So I've got a couple coming up, but I've been invited to go back to Maine in the future. I don't know if I'm allowed to really release any details on that, but I loved it. Once again, my life being very weird. We rented a car and we left on Friday, because from Pittsburgh to Maine, it's about 12 hours, and like that's a long drive. So we left on Friday because I didn't want to Zoom all the way Friday night. So we left early Friday and drove to my friend's house in Amsterdam, New York. We stayed there. But on the way, there was like an exit in Buffalo. So we were like, you guys want to go to Niagara Falls? So we went to Niagara. We're like, yeah, we're not really in a rush today. So we went to Niagara Falls, and because we didn't really like go to the Canada side, obviously. But yeah, we got to see it, and it was really cool. And then like there were like squirrels all over the place, and I was like, guys, like I would love to pet a squirrel. Like I love animals. It's like one of my goals.
Why not?
And yeah, right. Like no kidding. There was a squirrel. It was a black squirrel, which is really cool. I've never seen a black squirrel. Like I actually got to interact with it and like kind of like scratch its chin. It just like going like this and going like, and it came up to me, and I interacted with it so long that Katie Arquette was not only able to take a picture of it, but also record the interaction. That's how long it was. And I was like, we can go home now, and my weekend is made. But so like that was amazing, and I'll send you guys a picture of that because it's very wholesome.
Good. We're gonna use that as our cover
thumbnail.
For our episode.
Absolutely.
Good.
Dude, that's clickbait right there. Like, what
Absolutely.
the fuck are they talk about?
Yeah.
Right. So then we drove to Amsterdam, New York, and my buddy, who I've known for a while, he's known as the '90s guy. Like he has stuff like all over the place. Like he's like, look at this, and he shows me like a packet of green ketchup, and I'm like, where'd you get that? And he's like, bought it on eBay for $75, and I was like, holy shit, $75
for a pack of ketchup.
I feel like me and this dude would be good friends.
Green ketchup, not just ketchup.
Yeah.
Green
but if he's
ketchup.
known as the '90s guy, then I'm already in.
Yeah, he was like it was so cool because there's like no order to any of his stuff. Like he has his house, and like there's like figures, like he has like his Hasbro's all here, and then like Ninja Turtles hanging out with like the Craft poster. Like it was insane. I was like, I've known this kid for so long, but I've never really been to his house because he lives in Amsterdam. I was like, this is amazing. So then we woke up at like 5 a.m. I didn't sleep because I was like excited and anxious to wrestle after all that time. And we drove from Amsterdam to Maine and wrestled, and the taping lasted legitimately like all day. And we weren't sure where we were staying. We were just like, we might get a motel, we might not. We'll see, because we're kind of cheap. I'm punk at heart, so it's like DIY. Like I'll stay with somebody, I'll sleep on the floor. And we stayed at their dojo, which is like legitimately just like a storage facility where they keep the ring. And like I slept on a couch. Both of them brought air mattresses, and I was like, this is insane. Like I love this. like I'm sure for some reason I was really like talking shit about Kevin Nash. I was like, you think Kevin Nash ever slept in a dojo? No. I don't know. But I don't know why. I love Kevin Nash.
I'm pretty sure Kevin Nash has slept in far worse places than that dojo.
I was just like, I was using him to validate my punk rock credibility, my indie wrestling.
That's an odd choice for punk rock credibility.
Well, I mean, like
Super Shredder.
Punk indie wrestling, I guess you could say. Like, these fucking guys want hotels? No, look at me, I'm sleeping on a couch. Yeah, my life's weird.
And now we have the title for the episode.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
I'm so glad I accidentally have given you guys such gold.
You're going to give us the picture and the title, and it's going to fit perfectly.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad. So what else would you guys like to talk about? Because I can take us on a tangent.
More than what we've already gone on. Go ahead.
I thought you were going to say something. I was going to let you go.
I was going to, but it didn't add anything. No value.
Okay, so you guys, last time we talked was off the air. You guys were at a Lowe's, a Home Depot?
Yeah, Lowe's. Larry decided he needed help putting in his freaking oven. Yeah, I needed to take the old wire out, the old cord off, and
Joe's job is an electrician, so
gotcha.
I don't mess with that. It's all.
And I asked him if he has any tools, and he's got half a screwdriver and a pair of pliers. Now, normally I would have been able to MacGyver it, but I needed.
It's a full screwdriver.
Right.
Part of the screwdriver that I needed.
So the reason why I ask is because my roommate got me a Lowe's Home Depot gift card because the house that we are kind of like squatting in, we're not really squatting, but like we don't own it. We were renting, I guess you could say. The ladder is like really rickety, and like neither of us wanted to climb it. So like, hey, you know what? Here's a gift card. Let's go get a ladder. And like that was a Christmas gift. And like I just now finally was like, you know what? I'm gonna put up the Christmas lights and I'm gonna get this ladder. So I just bought a ladder and I'm so goddamn stoked to paint it black. Like the old WWF like Attitude Era ladders. Like nobody is gonna see it. But like those ladders look so cool. I'm just really stoked for that.
So you're just gonna be posting videos of you climbing your ladder to do mundane things?
Yeah, I guess so.
Clean the top of these blinds. Let me get on my ladder.
Yeah. But like, they don't make black ladders. They make them brightly colored so you don't walk into them and like hurt yourself.
Yes,
so
correct.
So the fact that WWF had somebody paint ladders is so funny to me. Like.
They had to make them their own. They couldn't have any logos on it. They had to cough up.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Now they're all silver, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That looks so weird because like
they want to make them look metal. So like when they're throwing them on someone, because fiberglass doesn't make that noise. Fiberglass sucks when it splits and it hits you because it sticks in your skin. So it's actually worse. So now you just have painted fiberglass that's itchy that hits you.
Right.
They want to make it look metal.
Wasn't the one tag team match for the Terry Invitational Tournament with Edge and Christian versus Hardy's? Their ladders were completely black, right? As far as I remember.
Yeah, those ones back in that time were black.
I think the steps were black too, and I always thought it made it look plastic. But like for the WrestleMania 17, they had the black outer shell and like the silver steps.
Mm-hmm.
Which I could tell like still looked metal, but yeah. So
no, those are metal.
Yeah, okay.
They painted them all black probably because they got lazy. They're just like they got out the spray paint. They're like, I'm not taping this thing. We're just gonna freaking
Right.
paint the whole damn thing.
Right, yeah.
So as they grew as a company, that small
Gotcha.
promotion of WWF, they learned how to tape up their ladder and paint just what they needed.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, I need to
Shawn,
look into this.
before
I got all the tips for you.
I do want to see. Are you keeping up with WWE and AEW?
You know, it sucks because I have so many friends that are on TV and different companies, but like I can't watch wrestling on TV. And like I which sucks so bad because if I was as a kid, you're going to say something?
Yeah, I want to. Now, is it just TV wrestling? Like, can you watch a stream of indie wrestling?
Even like yes, maybe if I really like know the person or they ask me to watch it. So it's probably just like TV wrestling. But like even Omega versus Jericho, which everyone's like, "Oh, this is great." Like I specifically put down my phone. I'm like, no distractions. I'm going to watch this, and the next thing I know, I ended up like zoning off. But it's such a shame because as a kid, I would take in anything I could. I was watching NWA TNA, local programming, FMW, anything I could. And if you were to tell 14-year-old Shawn Phoenix, hey, this is how much wrestling you have access to, and he doesn't watch any of it, like, he'd break my 14-year-old heart. Like, the accessibility and the amount that we have is insane, that I would have gone crazy. But, like, I just rather watch it in person or do it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's how I am with any sport. Like, I'd much rather watch hockey in person. Like, I like feeling the atmosphere and reading the crowd and hearing everything and the smell. Like, I don't know if that's weird or if that's a normal thing, but like, I don't know. Like, it's an experience. Wrestling is to me rather than a show or a presentation. It's an experience. And
Yeah,
honestly, I'm that way with music too. Like when Tool's album finally released Fear Inoculum, I was so excited to listen to it, but I waited until I went on a trip to New Jersey. Because now when I listen to that album, I think about that trip to New Jersey. Or if I'm going to see a concert and a new album came out by that band, I don't listen to the album before the concert because I know they're going to play a couple songs and maybe those songs aren't that good. But when I listen to that CD, I like, oh, that song they played live. I recognize this. And now it's a little bit cooler to me now than it normally would have been if it wasn't a single. So like, I'm a very experienced type person. And like, I don't know, like it sucks because I want to watch wrestling and I want to love watching wrestling like I used to, but I can't. And then like, I watched WrestleMania. I watched Royal Rumble, but like, even then, like I have friends come over before the pandemic, and it was more or less like it was on, but it was a hangout. Like we
yeah,
weren't sitting there and watching. It was
Mhm.
like we'd watch during the good parts, the entertaining parts. We'd zone off, we'd bullshit, we'd talk, whatever. And then, oh, look at that! Did you see that? Oh, that type of thing. But it's never like
sounds like
it's
us.
never it's not the focal point. And like when I'm there live, it is the focal point.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I think that's more for us too. Like when
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you definitely go and see something in person, it's just always better. It could be
Right.
awful, but it's still better than watching it on TV.
Right. And I'm not allowed to say that I'm a seat filler for WWE, but so I won't say that I am, but I have no fear of saying that because I don't think they're going to have live shows anytime soon. But so I get to go see WWE for free. And I whenever I get bored watching something, like I shouldn't say bored. Bored is the wrong word. It's disrespectful to the wrestlers. But like when there's no heat in a match, if it's like David Otunga versus Curtis Axel, like yeah, phenomenal wrestlers, right? But there's no, we're like they're not stars. Like I go insane. I pick one of them, and you would think it's Stone Cold. Like like freaking out for David Otunga, and like I get into a rhythm, and like so many times I've left like a WWE taping, and people be like, "Hey man, you're more entertaining than the show." Like just because like that energy is like infectious, I guess. And like if I'm having fun, other people have fun, and vice versa. We play off each other. So like I like doing that, and I can't do that if I'm sitting down watching a show on my computer.
Yeah, especially by yourself.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, even with us is not. I mean, God, what's the last indie show we have actually attended? It's been so long. I can't even remember what it was. I want to say GCW
Voltage.
At the Voltage Lounge back
okay.
in December, maybe
Yeah.
their Christmas show. But
Okay.
like other than that, but like that's one thing I know for sure. Like I miss going to 2300 Arena in South Philly,
Right.
and yeah, I mean even like Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore or a couple different ones I've gone through there. Like missing the crowd, that 2, 3, 400 people and all together and chanting different things and feeling the entrance music and
Right.
everything that goes along with it. Missing live wrestling is a big thing.
And there's always those same people that you're just like, oh yeah, there's that guy wearing the Zubaz pants
Yeah. Like those
and the
fans that
Eagle
are always
starter
there.
jacket, the
Yeah.
guy that's
See,
dressed as Hulk Hogan.
See, I grew up with that because, like, for IWC, I grew up the front row of the IWC shows, and like we had a message board. So like, it was indie wrestling was an escape from like I hated high school, and like it was a place where I could go, and like it didn't matter that I was one of the freshman kids that didn't talk to anyone because I had friends through indie wrestling, regular people, and we could talk about Bryan Danielson versus Samoa Joe that just happened in Ring of Honor and stuff like that. I didn't feel like such an outcast, and I really appreciated that. And like, so I relate to that 100%. And like, it's also like live events because like I would say if I wasn't a pro wrestler, I'd be in music somehow, but I have no musical talent. So like, I love concerts. I'm like, I really miss concerts. Those type of events for I consider those more events than like a movie because a movie's only like 2 hours and it's a very isolating thing. But like those type of things, you're one of maybe 400 people, and it's like nothing in the world matters. You know, it's just there, and you're just living in the moment. And
Yeah,
then
you're all there for the pretty much the same reason.
100%, yeah. And like it doesn't matter that your mortgage is late. It doesn't matter that the TV show you like got canceled because you were there in the moment and you're reacting to what is happening, and it's an escape. And
yeah,
like,
you forget everything. You forget
Yep.
everything when you're at those shows.
and even if nothing's going wrong, it's still amazing. Nothing else matters.
Yeah. It just heightens it a little bit more for you.
Absolutely, yeah. So like, I think I'm really like spoiled in that aspect. Like I look at things like an experience, and like it's just hard to get that on TV or a cell phone, or like I people will ask me like watch matches, and I get around to doing it, but like, yeah, I really don't watch wrestling. And I told a couple people like I also don't have cable, which also makes it really hard to watch.
Yeah, that
TV.
could probably hinder you a little bit. Yeah.
But I mean, like for the pay-per-views, like the network and stuff like that, like I don't really watch. And I also attribute, I know we're probably going long, I'm sorry, but I never took a break from pro wrestling. I always hear that people like, oh, you like wrestling? Cool. Yeah, I used to watch wrestling. Well, I stopped watching, then CM Punk, and then I started watching again, right? I always fucking hear that. It's always CM Punk. It's the weirdest thing. I never took a break. I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling growing up because, like, when all my friends were watching, it was the Attitude Era, and I'm the oldest of four. So even during the Attitude Era, '98, I'm probably like 8 years old. Like the Attitude Era was not geared to 8-year-olds. Not only that, but then I had like a 6-year-old brother, a 5-year-old brother, and a 3-year-old sister. Right? Not appropriate for us. So that's all I wanted to do was watch wrestling because all my friends watched it and I couldn't relate. So then by the time I was finally allowed to watch wrestling, that's when I soaked it up like a sponge because I had to catch up with all the knowledge. And like, I never took a break. So even when I was hurt wrestling, I was still going to shows. And at that point, it was actually really beneficial to be hurt and going to shows because then I could really study and like learn from watching it rather than like, okay, I need to work on this and I need to apply this match. I could really like study and digest things and like, why do they do that? Why shouldn't they do that? And then really let it sit and think. So like, I've never taken a break, even when I should have. In fact, I probably wanted wrestling more than when I didn't have it. So like, when the no fans thing happened, I was like, well, you know what? This is probably going to be the time that I take a break. So I kind of like keep up with what's going on based on like YouTube things and like Reddit. Like I'm always on
Like
Squared
viral.
Circle. Yeah,
Right.
stuff like that. Not even necessarily like viral stuff, but just like I know, like, oh, Buddy Murphy's feuding with, Rey Mysterio's son type thing, like not necessarily viral, just like what's going on,
Yeah.
Yeah. You pick and choose what you want to listen to.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, well, Shawn, I think we'll wrap it up here. We want to thank you so much for coming on with us and shooting the shit and just catching up, because we haven't really spoken in a long time. So, and catching anyone who has listened to the first episode a long time ago when we had you on. And thank you so much for taking the time and talking with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Sorry that I am the way that I am.
It makes for a better episode, trust us.
Good.
Does that mean I have to start apologizing after every episode for being alive?
No, I just apologize because I didn't know what key topics you wanted to talk about, and I ended up rambling and skipping over. But
That's
hey,
our show.
If you know us, we don't stay on topic.
No.
okay.
We
But
try
if
and
you
get
have
off
if you have anything else you want to talk about, shoot me a message. We'll do it again.
All right, absolutely. Well, Shawn, thanks again, and we hope you can get back full time and you don't get shut down again.
I know. Thank you.
We'll be right there with you if you do. So thanks again, and we'll be talking to you.
Appreciate it. Take care,
All right.
guys.